Hi everyone, I'm just trying to make this really quick video so that I can go to sleep early. And yeah, because if I don't sleep early, it's going to actually affect my not just my mental health alone, but even my physical health. And I realized that it also like makes the whole thing about inflammation in my body even worse. Yeah, as you all know that I had a health scare last year. Very thankfully, uh, it wasn't so serious as I thought. But there was a minor procedure, and I still had to actually go for a subsequent follow up and everything. But appointments are very slow here in Singapore. But I want to just say something about this concerning, especially the whole idea of preserving your own health, not just mental health, but even physical health. And I want to just get out there that the thing about bottling up emotions. We have a lot of this thing with certain cultures, especially not down here in Asian culture. There's this tendency to bottle your emotions. You're not supposed to say a lot of things, and not talking, not disclosing stuff about things you've been through, and you're supposed to put up a very stoic front. For me, I feel that I mean as a person who's like I call myself a third culture kid. I have grown up in Singapore in the East Asian culture. I studied overseas in Japan, South Korea, and also I lived in America, Canada, and also in Australia. So the thing is that all these different cultures have kind of made me very much exposed to both the Eastern or Asian side of things, as well as the Western side of things, in terms of the way we handle and express our emotions. And I think most people know that actually in Asian cultures, we don't express our emotions. It's frowned upon. Okay, you can't really cry when you're upset. You can't really say that you have been subject to certain experiences. I would say that even the idea of as abuse and even assault, they are actually seen as kind of taboo issues. And for that very reason, once you come forth, whether as a guy or as a girl or a man or woman, to regardless of your gender or your sexuality, whatever, no one really wants to believe you. And I mean, right now there are certain kind of like inroads being made, at least in the sense that I think the police is taking it more seriously now when someone who's a victim of all these things come forth. And but there's still a lot of shame. The thing is, when I was telling my some of my friends about this experience of like my own assault episodes, and they're so ridiculous. There are certain ways in which society tries to actually silence you. For example, when you want to seek justice, okay, there are people that, I mean, especially the older generation, they are really really ridiculous. They say, oh, don't go seeking justice, because you will seek justice, be careful that karma will come for you and punish you. So I was like, huh, are you saying that for seeking justice we're going to get punished? You're indirectly saying that karma sides with the wicked and the evil people. I don't buy that. Okay, I don't believe in karma. Karma is not a very Christian thing anyway to believe in. So regardless of that, it's so ridiculous, this whole idea of karma. And I told an uncle in the gym, and he said, the whole thing is that people nowadays love to just throw around terms like karma, whatever, but they don't even understand what it means. Okay, the thing is that karma, I mean, he used to be a Hindu as a Chinese, but practicing Hindu, but he left it, and he's more like agnostic or even atheist. But it's not that he doesn't really believe in God, but it's just that he doesn't believe in a kind of institutionalized form like Hinduism or even Christianity. And he had a like very rather antagonistic kind of relationship with his fundamentalist Christian brother and fundamentalist Christian sister. So ridiculous. Those fundamentalists can only tell you to go to hell. Saying that you're going to go to hell, you don't believe in their version of Christ. It's not even Christianity, but it's their version of Christ, which is kind of like really basically, if you're a Catholic or you're Orthodox, you're going to go to hell. You're not a charismatic, you're also going to go to hell. Uh, what? And they have all the BS things, but okay, that's a separate issue. But the issue is basically that most people don't understand it about karma. They just still use it very mistakenly. So what's the drift? You're using just to justify what's evil. But okay, I want to just go back to the whole point I was saying about recovery and everything. So and because there's this whole thing about bottling our emotions here in my in this culture that I grew up in as a kid. And then the thing is that I keep on hearing that BS thing. But what point is it if we just keep on bottling up? You fall sick, okay? I'm not saying that you just keep it up and then blow up, and I'm not advocating blowing up as well, but there are means to actually express certain things and to uh, channel certain things. So I have to actually face the possibility that I might have to go to the police after so many years, and that things might not even, I mean, I might not, the report might get thrown out, or things like that. It could be so-called too late for me to seek justice. It will at the most become some kind of a so-called informational report. So I don't have much of a choice. I also have to learn how to protect myself, especially at this stage where my life is picking up after so many years post narcissistic abuse and post flying monkey stalking and harassment. All these things with all these people is that they really really are no good. Okay, once you start realizing it, you won't gonna like do stuff like you won't bottle it up. Okay, you realize that there's a point to talking as long as you do it within certain parameters. Don't name the person, don't get into kind of like situations, very sticky situations where you get sued for defamation without proof. Okay, and don't even get into a situation where you so-called seek vengeance, because vengeance is really not ours. I remember talking to my priest just last weekend. I didn't want to tell him exactly what's going on, but while we were talking over a thing during like dinner, kind of like a post liturgy thing at his home. Okay, he calls it the rectory, which is it's a very Western rite thing, but even Catholic priests have this thing, but he's an Orthodox priest, so he just said I didn't know how to tell him the whole situation. He just said but later halfway through I just type it out on my phone and show him a phrase. Said SA as in what show assault by someone I trusted, okay, wrongly obviously. And he was like, oh, that he saw the phrase and he realized, okay, this is what I can't need prayers for. He didn't want to add to any more of this, but he said for a good sign for me to whether I'm doing the right thing, also to prevent myself from doing things which might for me, from his point of view, it's a very pastoral point of view. He said he didn't want me to just like become like sink into the whole thing about hatred, anger, vengeance, because from his point of view as a pastoral like leader or guide, as the priest, okay, he has to make sure that I don't let my emotions, the so-called emotions, lead me to do certain things that might be detrimental to me. Okay, not just physically but also spiritually. And he said that if it's like vengeance seeking, it could kind of like me do certain things which are not good. And yeah, I mean, like this whole thing about tit for tat kind of thing is not very healthy. But he said that we have to examine ourselves. But from my point of view, I know very well it's like I haven't really bottled out my emotions. I'm trying to just keep a bit more tact when I talk about this. Yeah, and I just tell only a few friends whom I know will like stand by me my decisions, no matter what I choose. So it's quite heartening to know, though. I think even, I mean, most of the friends, I mean, I would say among the few that I told, I think more than half of them just said, you know what, you do what is needed, you do it as soon as you can. Okay, in terms of reporting, they are aware that it's really a long time, and that might always not work out to exact justice or to achieve the so-called deterrent effect that I'm hoping for. But still there's no harm, and they can't really go after you just because you told the truth. Okay, I don't want to bottle it up anymore because I don't want to be like a Cassandra. Okay, for those who know what Cassandra, she is, She was a prophetess, like a truth teller in the ancient Greek myths. So basically, she had this gift of foresight. She could see what happens. And obviously, she was able to foresee the imminent fall of Troy, things like the Trojan horse, everything. And but because that the god Apollo, okay, so uncanny, he tried to actually basically he essayed her, okay, in the form of a wolf, but she rejected his kind of like advances. There is quite a lot of retellings of the myth. Like there's another a German lady, Christa Wolf, an author who rewrote that as well. I even wrote a poem about that thing, based on the thing, about the experience of essay uh, by that person whom I thought I could trust as a friend, but wasn't really a friend. And there are some things that I don't even want to talk. I mean, it's not that it's kind of re-traumatizing, and yeah, it is like there are certain things like grooming, predatory behavior leading up to that essay, and there were two occasions on it, and then and also like in between, I'm not just in between me now deciding to do this reporting and that event that happened many years ago, about 9 years ago. There are many other cases brought against that person as well, which was summarily dismissed because of tampering with the law by the defense lawyer. Then, sending lawyers letters to threaten people, or to I heard that it was a kind of either a settlement or some payment or something. I don't know what was going on, but the thing was kind of like buried very quickly, and some things were thrown out. So you kind of get a sense that there was some kind of tampering, which I cannot for 100% sure. I mean, I can't be 100% sure about that. But the lawyer has been disbarred, okay, due to some other issue of assaulting his niece and a female assistant, okay, which is another separate issue. But that means there's other things to fall that we have looked into. But I just kind of realized that in between I have been bottling it up so much, and then when I bottle it, of course, when I finally blurted it out in front of the counselor was like, Kevin, now I know what's going on. And then he messaged the psychotherapist, the psychologist, and she was like just telling me, actually, while I was on my maternity leave, whoever your counselor, just the interim counselor, just messaged me, and I kind of knew what was going on. But I didn't want to force you to pressurize you to go and report this to the police, because but we are obliged as a counseling center, because we know what actually happened. Now we know what has happened, and so there's this whole thing about bottling up emotions. And I realized that a lot of things, when we bottle our emotions, it can be very detrimental. So there are many kinds of emotions. Like one, I mean, the thing that led me to bottle it up for so many years was shame. The feeling that okay, let's go back to the whole thing about Apollo essaying Cassandra. He cursed her because she rejected his advances, cursing her to tell that she would tell the truth all the time. She'll be able to tell it uncannily, but no one ever believed her. So that was what happened. The Trojans, not the Trojans, yeah, the Trojans, they accepted the gift from the Greeks. Was this Greeks? The Greeks, yeah, the gift of the Trojan horse, not realizing that there were all these men inside the Trojan horse, the wooden horse, and when that was even the fall of the city of Troy. Okay, so yeah, this whole thing, I mean, is a myth, but it tells us a lot about certain things. Truth tellers are always being persecuted, just because we know what's going on, and sometimes you don't even need to even bring forth evidence, because the truth will always be like the sun. They will always shine, okay, through the darkness, through the mist. Okay, you can obscure it for a while, but you can never hide it. Okay, and that was the kind of point, like I kind of was wondering, would there be retaliation? How I'm going to protect myself from all this vindictiveness of the narcissistic abusers and assailants, and how am I going to actually continue to lead the kind of like thriving life or a better life that I'm now living compared to the past, when so-called the hits the fan. Okay, when the thing hits the fan. So I kind of realized this. The whole thing is this: there's no point hiding, or because precisely truth is meant to be told. Okay, and even if I can't summon evidence because it's been so long, and I mean I blocked the people, I deleted or whatever, could be evidence or dating or whatever. So all this is just what you call an informational report, which might or might not lead forth to evidence, but there's this whole idea as well that that of course I know that I'm not the only one making that report, that kind of report. There's actually quite a lot, and I was thinking in terms of like the snowball effect, but the psychologist said no, it's nothing about snowball effect, but because there is already a record, there are really a lot of records of what was going on there. Police just keep on dismissing it. If we keep on making that sound and people come forth, the police will be prompted to act. Okay, and they can't just pretend that it doesn't matter anymore. Okay, this is the only way we can sort of like kick the stone rolling for justice. Okay, and yeah, that's what we can do, but we can only hope, because we know how the world is. Like there's a lot of if not it's not even corruption, it's just like the world is very much a world which doesn't believe the truth. Okay, so we can only hope that somehow the truth will eventually surface. So but there's also radical acceptance, as I kind of realized at the end of it. Radical acceptance is when you realize, like, what, I don't even need to take revenge. There's no need for revenge, because why? Their own life is their own worst punishment. Okay, why are they doing that? They have no sense of consent. They have no sense of what is good and bad. They call evil good, and they call good evil. They project everything that's bad onto other people, but will not even admit to their own flaws. Okay, we are not like that. Okay, we can kind of level up, but they can't. Okay, and yeah. So anyway, this is what I have to say. Okay, so I'm off now, and I hope everyone has a good week ahead. Okay, so we're halfway through, and yes, don't bother our emotions, but don't blow up as well. Just learn how to be able to be honest with yourself, how you really feel then, with the truth and everything. Telling it, just tell the truth no matter what. That's all we can do. Okay, and the truth is not your truth, it's the truth. Okay, and just remember, the person who can actually master his or her own emotions, I mean, for that person, instead of like lying or blowing up or whatever, or I guess that the point is this: instead of allowing all these emotions to master you, you should master those emotions, so that way you'll be a stronger person. Okay, and stronger people thrive better. Okay, that's what I mean. This is the way it is. Okay, and also we actually end up being able to heal faster. Okay, yeah. So the emotions that we bottle up can make us sick. Don't bottle them up, and learn to express in very healthy ways. Okay, maybe next time I'll talk a little bit more about. I've become so tired. I'm gonna sleep. Sleeping is pretty underrated. Okay, so anyway, have a good one, everyone. Bye bye.